which is emotional intelligence, also known as EQ. So again, we could spend so much time on this particular subject, and it's one that I love talking about because it's so fascinating to me. But basically what you should know about emotional intelligence is it's made up of three components. The first one is self-awareness. Self-awareness and that ability to self-reflect, sort of check ourselves and check in with how we're feeling emotionally and physically is a really important component of emotional intelligence, coupled with empathy, which is the ability to do that in someone else's shoes. So earlier where we had talked about women being more socially perceptive, that has a lot to do with empathy and being able to put ourselves in another's shoes and think about how they might be feeling from someone else's perspective. By no means am I saying that men don't have empathy or don't have social intelligence or emotional intelligence, because they absolutely do. This role or this slide here and the next 5 slides apply to both genders. And then the last part of emotional intelligence is self-regulation. So not only being able to check in with ourselves to see how we're feeling and how we're acting, or I'm sorry, how we're showing up in a situation, but the ability to actually show up in a way that is socially acceptable. So being self-aware that maybe we're feeling some anger, but then being able to regulate that anger by stepping away or taking a minute to ourselves, or whatever we have to do to be able to maintain that positive connection with others. The second piece that I believe is very important for a good leader to have is confidence. And confidence varies a lot between men and women. I'm going to take it all the way back to the caveman days. So let's go back 10,000, 20,000 years. And you have a caveman, and he knows that he has to provide for his family. So he is out in the bush and he sees a tiger, he throws a rock at it to kill the tiger so they can have some dinner, and the tiger doesn't die. So the tiger is now injured and very angry. In that moment, the caveman has to decide, am I going to fight it or am I going to flee to save my life? In that situation, it's a life or death situation, and he's got the fight or flight biological neuroscience response to that. At the same time, his wife is back in the cave and she has the baby with her, and a tiger walks by the outside of the cave. That mom's response is to not fight or flight. She can't flee, she has a baby, and she can't fight it because she has a baby. So instead, her response is to shush the baby. So whatever she has to do to keep that baby quiet so the tiger doesn't smell them, see them, hear them. So she might nurse the baby, she coddles the baby, she nurtures the baby, she tends to it. She brings the children together to all be quiet together. In both of those situations, they are fighting for their lives, but the response and how they do it is very, very different.